Hey everybody, Steven here. Finally got my Asus Rog Strix Scar 3 gaming laptop in today. So we are going to look at this. This unboxing video is going to kind of be done in stages just because I'm going to have to upload a bunch of stuff to this, and it's going to take me a little bit of time because I still work full time and all of that as well. Now with this, when I got this in, the seal was actually cut on it right here. And I was like, what's going on with this? I don't quite understand. And I'll explain that here in a second. So I did briefly look at the laptop before I did this, just because I wanted to make sure everything was here. But this is the 240 hertz panel. It has the i7 9750H. It has the full GTX 2070 in here, which is awesome. I didn't want the Max Q, wanted the full thing. 32 gigs of RAM. It has 512, I believe it's the M.2 drive on this. I got to double check this, but it also has a 1 terabyte hard drive as well. Should be the SSD version of that. I'm going to do some tweaking. It gives me the specs on the back, but they're actually off, which is what explains this being cut. So this is coming from a company that sells just PC equipment. So what they do is they actually get into this beforehand, tweak some things, give you some different things with it, and then ship it to you. So this is it right there. And I could tell immediately because it's got a couple different areas that this is the like gunmetal finish. This is going to collect fingerprints, and you can see some areas where it has that. It looks phenomenal, but you open this up right off the bat, and it says right there, has their little logo or company name on it, which is ZOTICPCT. So exotic PC, right? So I say that right. At first I was just like, what does that even mean? But exoticpc.com. So they give you this, they have like some stickers, they have this on it, which I'm assuming this already came with it, but they give you stickers and all of that with it, which I'm not gonna use. So we have this. We can see the panel here, and then this was the giveaway, right? The background is their logo right there. So I'm gonna set this to the side for a second. Let's get that out of the way. So I have my Asus ROG gaming monitor here, so I am a fan of the brand. But let's open this up. So let's open the middle piece up here. This stuff I haven't looked at yet. Notebook, Keystone Set Up, which it's not in the actual PC or the laptop right now. What do we got here? I'll be careful not to rip this. And it ripped anyways. Okay, here we go. So this is the I can't remember what they call it, but the little key fob deal that essentially Keystone, that you can essentially offload all of your different settings to this, and then if you take this to somebody else's PC, this is more like almost for like a pro gamer that needs to swap their profile to another one of these, but I personally don't think I'll be using that. So we have that in the middle. All right, let's see what else. I'm gonna turn this around here. Nothing in the back there. The side, power cable, power brick. It's got some good weight to it. Set that down, and then on this side, compartments for stuff, and there's nothing there. So that is it. That's what's in my box, at least. Oh, come on. So, next part that we're going to do here is that I'm going to get this all set up. So, creating a profile, getting Steam loaded up on this, getting my GeForce experience, everything loaded onto this, and then we're going to test some games really quick. Talk about anything that I ran into with that. Definitely test out this monitor, maybe run some benchmarks with it. Eventually I'll do a review on it, potentially. I know there's a bunch out there, but It is a very good looking PC. Now it's dimmed right now because I don't have this plugged in, but just the quick test that I did, because I pulled this up and I wanted to make sure everything was good, I just like checked this really quick and made sure that this was actually what I ordered. Was the other thing, because I was like, they've opened things, they've changed things, I want to make sure this is actually it. But that's also why you have the different configurations. Like I said, you have some that are it's 1 terabyte SSD and then another standard hard drive with it, or it's a 512 M.2 with a regular hard drive, or it's a 512 M.2 with a 1 terabyte SSD. You have all these different configurations, and that's how I know that they're doing this now. And then of course, obviously between this stuff, I do want to figure out if I can take this off of it potentially. It's not a big thing, but I don't know. If I can without causing any damage, I'll take that off. But let's go ahead and cut ahead. I will have this all set up and ready to go. All right, so we are all set up here. It took a little bit longer than I wanted it to. I had some family that came in from out of town, so everybody was staying over at my house. So it just kind of created a situation where I couldn't sit down and film anything. So I will say this thing is incredibly powerful because I got to spend that extra couple days just toying around with games and everything. And it is a very beefy laptop. I love this thing. And with this, just learning some of the different software things that I had to, I did have to upload a handful of different drivers. For whatever reason, they didn't come pre-installed on this. One of the big ones was the Armory Crate, which is actually how you're going to control the different fan settings and overclocking the CPU and the GPU and all these different things. It's really streamlined. It's easy to use. You have your different profiles. You can actually tweak that. And really what you're tweaking is the fan speed and the voltage here. But with that, it actually has the key fob here that you can take out. And then when I put it back in, you'll hear that, and then the software pops up. Hopefully we can get rid of that right there. So initially I'm just sitting there pushing the button, nothing's happening. I realized I had to go install the driver, and then I could actually tweak a lot of these different settings. You can actually tweak the light settings as well. So I was kind of surprised by that, just because Exotic actually got into this thing. They took enough time to put their wallpaper on it and most likely update certain things, tweak the hard drives, add the RAM, whatever it may have been, but they didn't check to make sure all the drivers were on there. So minor blip, but I got that installed, made sure everything else was on here as well. So I just kind of went through everything just to double check. Now, using the Armory software is easy, but one of the things that I noticed is that the games kind of dictated that the fan was going to increase anyways, and it was going to start to do a lot of that stuff on its own. But you can change that as you're playing. So you may notice that it's on silent mode, and you can click that and you can go into turbo and actually hopefully increase the frames per second and other things as well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop right here really quick, and I'm just going to click over to the fan sound test. Now, if you look at Jared's tech, you're going to get, like, he has the decibel reading, so he's going to tell you exactly how loud that is. I put my camera or my phone at about the set distance that I sit away from the monitor here. So you'll actually just get to hear as I go from silent to balanced to turbo. And then you have your manual one that you can tweak. But I just ran through those three and then went back down so you can actually hear what does this sound like as it ramps up. All right, so that was the sound test there, and as you can tell, it does get quite loud. So that's something to consider when you're around some people where maybe you can't be super noisy, whatever that situation may be, that if you're playing a game that's graphically demanding and this thing needs to go into turbo mode, it's gonna be loud. I have the G533 Logitech wireless headset, and I'm using that currently with this laptop. The earmuffs on it work so well, though I can't actually hear anything. They're very noise canceling, so I don't actually hear this when I'm playing and it's on turbo mode with those. But if I'm using earbuds or something that doesn't fit quite as well, you're probably going to hear it. This also became not necessarily problematic, but it was something that I noticed. I did a live stream on this because I wanted to make sure that I could stream games, because that's one of the things that I wanted to get a laptop for, is if I'm traveling and I could stream. With that, the microphone picks up the fan noise, so you do hear it in the background of your video. So I could sit further away and diminish that, but then also I'm sitting further and further away from the screen here. So that's something to consider with this. The fans, by the way, on the back are really, really nice. You can actually see inside the heat sinks here, and it pumps out pretty warm air. And then on the side here, so that's actually where all the heat is coming out. So we got the side here, and then in the back. I noticed a couple other videos where, especially on Jared's, because he does a kind of thermal mapping. He's showing you where all the heat is actually dissipating. And with that, he was saying, hey, if your mouse is over here, it is gonna get warm. I didn't notice that because the way it was blowing for me, it's like up here. I'm not reaching my hand way up onto the side here. So that wasn't personally an issue for me. My mouse is usually down here. I kind of sit back just a little bit from this, but that may be something that is of concern for some people with this. So I did notice that with this, and like I said, it does blow very, very warm air. And the power brick also, this guy right here, when you're playing like a long session, this thing got really warm. So be mindful of that as well. Very warm to the touch. I actually put it up on, because I had it on I was playing in front of my desktop. I actually had it on my power play, my Logitech power play for my mouse, and then I touched it. It was so warm. I was actually concerned that it was going to damage the power play, so I had to put it up on top of a shirt because I didn't want that to do any damage. So power grip does get, or the power brick does get very, very warm with that. So other things with this, we have, I guess we can just cover the ports. For instance, you got 3 USB on the side here. We got the headphone jack. The 3, I get it because they put the thermals over here. I wish there was just like maybe 1 or 2 more on the back, or I don't know if they could fit them here. I know they crammed a lot into this, but I'm running low already because I have my G533 dongle, and then I have my G900 wireless mouse dongle here. And if I try to plug anything else, then I've maxed it out with this. So for instance, if I put in my Xbox One PC adapter, my controller adapter, I'm capped. I can't plug anything else in. I could probably get an extender, but I wanted to minimize things, not have an extra dongle with this that kind of hangs out to the side. So something else to think about with this. But after that, we have a Thunderbolt in the back. We have the HDMI, and then we have the Ethernet port as well. I did try Ethernet on this, and it worked really, really well. I actually used that to download Red Dead because I just wanted to see how the connection was going to do. Wi-Fi has been phenomenal. I haven't had any problems. I actually streamed Subnautica Below Zero just off Wi-Fi, and I did that upstairs where the signal is typically much less than any other part in my house, and it did phenomenal. It was still pulling 40 to 50 megabytes per second up there, and I paid for 300 megabytes per second for the house. So, which here in Oklahoma we have Cox. I don't always pull that, so it's up to 300 megabytes per second, but that is standard even on my PC. So that works very, very well. I did hook this up via HDMI to my ultra-wide monitor, tinkered with that for a second. I have more testing to do with that, but the HDMI out did work, which was nice. Kind of sucks it doesn't have DP for anybody that has an Oculus Rift S, because they switched over to DP, and this doesn't actually have that. So trying to hook this up is going to be a problem. So, and I watched Linus Tech Tips, the video where he's actually talking about, they said you could use an adapter, but you could use Thunderbolt. So I'm still looking into how I'm going to go about doing that, and then eventually I'll test that. But as of right now, I haven't actually tested that. Also with this, we have the LED keyboard here, and then you actually have the light bar. Changing the settings, you can do it from not only the Armory Crate software, but you can actually do it from the keyboard itself. The keyboard feels phenomenal. I love the feel of it. It does feel really, really good. and the light bar is a nice addition, and I do like it. But the thing that I've noticed with it, and you can change and tweak it, you can make it breathing and static and all these different things with it. But when I actually close this, I've noticed that when it's charging, and even now when I unplug it, it'll still flash the light up top and around here, even if I turn it off. So I got to look into that a little bit more. I know some people of videos I've seen have said you can turn this off in the BIOS. It's just taking the time to actually do that. I can tweak the light settings for the keyboard via the Armoury Crate software and the keyboard itself, and you can even turn it off, but it doesn't actually affect the light bar and then the ROG symbol in the back here turning off when I've closed it. Feels good when it closes, don't have any problems with that. It actually just, it feels very smooth to put it down and to bring it back up. I don't have any lifting or sticking points or anything like that with this. Like I said, keyboard feels phenomenal, but I will say in the gunmetal finish or whatever this is here, this collects a ton of fingerprints. So that may be something that maybe somebody shies away from. I watched Jared's video and he was talking about comparing this to another, I can't remember if it was a Helios, whichever laptop it was that had a more matte finish, and it didn't collect nearly as many fingerprints. This does collect fingerprints, and because it's black, you can see all the little dust and anything else that collects on it too. I don't know if that's going to be a problem for some people. The touchpad feels amazing. The tracking is awesome. Another driver that I had to download though was for the numerical keypad here, which is nice that you can hold that down for a couple seconds and then it just pops right up. I do like that feature. Very, very cool with that. So moving on to the GPU and actually testing things, I haven't had any problems with any games. It runs them really, really well. Frame wise, I mean, it depended upon the game, like Red Dead, and I'll actually showcase a lot of this towards the end of this video. I'll just show me playing and looking at the frames and all of that. I'm doing like high ultra and pulling decent frames, anywhere from like 50 to like mid 60s, even 70 with that. I'm not pushing the 240 on this. I'm not hitting 240 hertz. Now, just moving my mouse around and everything is awesome, but I'm not playing any games that are actually getting that many frames. Subnautica Below Zero for me, with everything maxed out, is pulling anywhere from like 110 to like 144, and it runs really, really smooth. I don't notice a difference past that though, personally. I'm not playing any games and I'm not a professional gamer, so I'm not noticing anything with that where I can tell the difference between how smooth it gets. I'm not noticing any ghosting or anything like that, but like I said, I'm not a professional gamer and I'm playing not necessarily extremely fast-paced games either. I don't do, when I do first-person shooters, I'm not going and playing with other people. I usually like to do anything where I'm facing bots, so it's just not a big deal for me. I don't play Overwatch or Fortnite or anything like that, so more RPGs for me, and it works really, really well with that. Display settings are really, really good. The thing I noticed with the NVIDIA control panel though, and I've been looking into this, I don't know if this is just because of it being a laptop. I can't access anything, so I'm not changing the gamma or anything like that. I'm dealing with trying to download a color profile because it comes preloaded with one for the color calibration. Still trying to tweak that a little bit. I did download, it's the Asus display widget. It won't let me do anything. It just automatically changes like the color profile, and you can see it immediately. The colors do get more vibrant. I don't know if it's just changing the game or whatever it may be. It does make a difference with that, and I usually have it on with this, but I haven't been able to tweak those settings yet, nor have I found anything saying that. I've had a couple other people with threads that have been talking about it, but the deeper I'm digging into it, it's just one of those things that if you guys know, definitely let me know in the comment section. I'm new to the laptop game here, in terms of a gaming laptop, but I haven't found anything that says, hey, you can actually go in and you can do all the color management yourself via the NVIDIA control panel. I uninstalled it, reinstalled it, and then I went and uninstalled and reinstalled the NVIDIA drivers as well to just make sure I had all my bases covered. I downloaded the NVIDIA control panel from the Windows Store, tweaked all these different things, still couldn't do it. So now I'm messing with trying to find potentially a color calibration for it via different websites. Linus has a great video on that. So I'm searching through some of the websites that he recommends where you can just download the profile and then upload it with this. So that was something else that I noticed with this. It's not, I mean, it's 1080p, so it's not as good as my 1440p monitor, but it still is really, really good with this. I was surprised. That was one of my concerns, going from 1440p to 1080p. How much of a difference was that going to make? And it does make a difference. I'm not saying it doesn't, but based off how close I'm sitting to this thing, the games that I'm playing, yeah, it looks better on my monitor upstairs, but it still looks really, really good. So I haven't tried any RTX games yet, anything that runs it. Wanted to do Minecraft, and then just downloading everything. I haven't gotten around to it because I actually have to download third-party versions of it right now because they haven't officially released the patch yet. That's later this year. And I don't want to, well, certain games I just don't have the money to pay for, games I'm not going to play, just to try out the RTX, the ray tracing stuff. I don't play Tomb Raider, and I'm not a big Battlefield guy, so I'm looking at other potential games that I can. I haven't found anything that just popped out to me yet, just because it's very limited right now with games that actually do run that. So I haven't done that yet. It's on my list to do. That'll definitely, if I do a review, that'll be something that I will cover. But like I said, running games other than that has been really, really good. So I am very pleased with this overall so far. Just a little bit that I've got to tinker around with it. It had some things I needed to mess with, and I'm still messing with certain things, but it's definitely a learning curve, but extremely happy with everything so far. Now, I think it just turned off on me there. Now we just need to click over into showcasing Red Dead Online. What I've noticed with other reviews, unboxings, and all that other stuff, they're showing these big AAA titles. And not to say that Red Dead isn't a AAA title, but I'm not even seeing Red Dead Redemption 2 or Red Dead Online on those yet. You're seeing Battlefield, Fortnite, Overwatch, The Witcher 3, which is awesome because I still play that game. I don't have that on here, but they're playing those games. Watch Dogs, and they have good ones that are CPU intensive, and then they have ones that are GPU intensive with that. But right now, I just have Red Dead Redemption 2, I have Stranded Deep, and I have both the Subnautica Original and Below Zero. So let's cut over to that, and then we'll kind of finish this video out. All right, so this is it. Trying to get an angle where it's kind of like you're just sitting there yourself and playing this. So we're at 71 frames per second. Like I said, we're on a combination, they're kind of my own, but we usually, I have a vast majority that are high ultra on this, but some of them that are just medium or low, because either I don't notice a difference with it or they just impact performance too much here. So you can kind of see some of these here. High, ultra, medium, high, 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 on. So let's kind of move around for a second. I am going to do some videos and some live streams of this so that people can see too, just kind of what it's pumping out. The panel itself looks really, really good. I don't notice any screen tearing or anything like that, like I said, and it's pulling anything above 60 on this game is really good to me. I don't notice a huge difference, and I haven't noticed, I mean, unless I'm going to get a 2080 Ti here, I don't notice too many people pumping out 144 frames on this thing. But yeah, it does look very good. Actually, let's head into town. It does look really good. Like I said, we're going anywhere from 60 to 70 on the FPS here. Occasionally I'll see it dip a little bit lower for these settings. Now I can turn it down much lower and get higher FPS. You can slowly hear that fan ramping up also, by the way. Let's go ahead. So you can hear the fan, it's ramped up a bunch. I could even pull up right now here
even while I'm in game, and we can change this to turbo. Now it's going to get really loud. So we have that, you hear it? And I'm behind camera obviously, but that gets pretty loud. Then the next thing here, how loud will this get? The speakers are actually really, really good.
Show you care. Come on, please, somebody. Be up there.
All right, so that was Red Dead. Let's go ahead and cut over to Subnautica Below Zero. All right, so this is Subnautica Below Zero. Scenery like this definitely showcases how good the screen itself is. You can still hear the fans are crazy loud. We're pulling about 122 frames per second. This is max on everything in terms of settings here. Same thing with the volume. It can get really, really loud here. Let's bring that down a little bit. But it looks really, really good. I just wish I could make it a little bit brighter. This is at max brightness. If I remember correctly, this was 300 nits for peak brightness, but I'm not 100% sure. But let's go down here, bring our water volume back on. Let's spawn something here. There we go. Get a good look at this guy here. And because I'm recording this on my phone, because I don't have a fancy camcorder, it's not going to look as good, but it does really, really look good on screen. It's one of those games I wish they did have RTX on it. That would be phenomenal. But we got that guy. Let's see if we can hear his roar. Maybe. We're still at 120 frames per second. Nope, he didn't want to roar for us. There you go. Now you heard it. But yeah, it looks and plays really, really well. Now we dropped to 100 frames a second. And then he floated through the map. So the game itself runs really well on this. Like I said, I wish I could tweak a couple more things with it, because this doesn't actually have any like gamma correction or anything like that in game in the settings, but it still looks really, really good on this. So let's go ahead and click over. That was the video games. Wanted to showcase a couple things that were different than other videos. We do a review. We'll get some of the other games that I play, and we'll get some benchmarks with it as well, especially with like Red Dead, where it can actually run a benchmark, which I did want to showcase with this. I still want to play around with that a little bit, but that was it for the video games here.
All right, so that is it. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all of my content, hit the subscribe button for me. I'm going to make sure that a link for this is in the description box. I really, really do love this thing so far that I've gotten to tinker around with it. So I know they have different variations of it that you can look at, but I'll actually have a link for the one that I have here. Potentially a couple other ones just based off some of the tweaks that you can find. CES is this week, so we may see a price drop on these potentially in the next couple weeks or the next month or so, as we start to see some of the tech from that slowly getting released. I don't know, that's just my prediction. Obviously everything gets cheaper over time anyways, but one of those things to consider when looking at this is that it may be cheaper here in the next couple months.
But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. If there's any tips, tricks, anything like that that you guys know as well, like I said, there's certain things like the control panel that I'm just not sure on yet. Definitely let me know in the comment section or point me in the right direction. That would be greatly appreciated with this. If there are any games that you're like, man, you should check this out in terms of ray tracing too. Like I said, I'm not a big Battlefield guy. I'm not a big Tomb Raider guy as well. With that, and like I said, I don't really want to pay $60 for a game that I'm not going to play, but let me know, or maybe something I can look into. I wanted to get Control, but that's not out yet, so I couldn't do that. There's a like space game, I'm forgetting the name of it right now, that does have it. It's only $15. I'm thinking about potentially getting that, just as, like I said, check it out. But we'll see on that one. That'll definitely be in the review if I get around to doing a review for this, which fingers crossed I should be able to. Here, let me sit with it for another month or two with that one. But that is it. Like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. Check back soon for more videos.